So here's a wee frame that you made up for you upon your retirement, just with some of your different things in it, different menus, even ones going way back to the early 70s. So definitely we've got a wealth of experience to go from. So would you like to tell us about that? So how did you come to get into catering then?
I always wanted to. Be a chef or a baker, doing both. The secondary school I went to back, oh my goodness me, 1963, I was in secondary school, and we were the first secondary school in the UK to do a pilot scheme for cookery for boys. Because back then all boys did was woodworking and what else did you do? Woodworking.
Metalwork.
Metalwork, we did woodworking, metalwork. So at assembly, the headmaster made the announcement, we're looking for volunteers for boys to take part in cookery, put your hands up. And I think I was only one out of 1,000 people that put their hands up. And that was my passion started. So that was me kind of hooked. I loved it. Then when I left school, I got a job in Lyons Bakery in Govan as an apprentice baker.
Well, can we, before that though, let's tell people about your experiences, because you always say you were an apprentice electrician, an apprentice plumber. What else were you for about 5 days or something?
Apprentice joiner, yeah. I was an apprentice printer. I was an apprentice electrician.
They all lasted maybe about a week in total, maybe?
Yeah, a couple of weeks, I think, yeah. It wasn't my forte in life. I still had this desire to cook, but I couldn't really find what I was looking for. So I tried the bakery, Lyons Bakery. I didn't like that. It was all mass production. Then I tried another bakery, Peacock's Bakery in Govan. That was mass production. I only stuck with that for a wee while. And eventually a friend of mine was working as a commie chef in a restaurant in Glasgow. And I got a job in there as a commie chef.
Whereabouts because you did confectionery at college?
I did confectionery. I went to Langside College, yeah. I did my Second Guilds in confectionery and the basic cookery. It was back then, it was called the 147 City and Guilds, so I got that. I passed that.
So that's why you ended up through all of our lives making wedding cakes and things like that.
I've done wedding cakes, yeah, over the years. Probably a couple of 100 wedding cakes. But getting back to the Ibrox House, here's an interesting point. The Ibrox House restaurant was located near Ibrox football ground, where a team like the Glasgow Rangers play. And there's a garage there now, but that garage wasn't always there. I think it's the Esso garage at Dumbreck Road. That was the Ibrox House restaurant, and I served a part of my time in there. And I had the privilege of cooking for the Rangers players back then. They used to come in every day for their lunch, and I would do lunch for them as a young commie chef.
Called you Wee Ronnie, didn't they?
They certainly did, yeah.
So it was like, as in the days of Jim Baxter and guys like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. John Gregg, Wee Willie Henderson, Alan Shearer, Davy White, all these ones, yeah.
It's a good experience, isn't it?
It was, yeah. I met a lot of people. I met Francie and Josie in there, Ricky Fulton.
Is that where your patter comes from?
I think so, yeah. Jack Mulroy, Ricky Fulton. I had lunch with him quite a few times actually. They used to come in quite often for the lunch, yeah.
Very good. So that was your start of your journey then as a commie chef. Where did it take you?
Oh my goodness me. Well, after I worked in Ibrox House for a while, I joined the Merchant Navy, because my pal that got me the job in Ibrox House, he joined the Merchant Navy, so I thought, well, if it's good enough for him, good enough for me. So I was well, back then they called it a catering assistant, but it was like a commie chef working in the galley of ships. And I sailed the world, well, some of it, not all of it. And I worked on the ships for a couple of years.
Well, I've heard these stories for 50 odd years about the things that happened, so we won't go into them just now, but they'll maybe come up another time. All your different stories that you repeat constantly.
Yeah.
After that then?
I come back from the Merchant Navy. I got a job with the House of Fraser. I was a second chef. I worked in the House of Fraser. I worked in Arnott's. In fact, Arnott's, it was called Arnott Simpson's, which is in Argyle Street. Some may remember it, back in the day in the 60s. They were one of the first places to pioneer fast food, because fast food back then was chip shops. That was it. You didn't have your McDonald's or KFC or anything like that. So I opened what was called the Clipper Bar. It was in the third floor of Arnott Simpson's, and it was a kind of breakfast bar type American style, where the customers sat in bar stools and you cooked in a griddle front of them. Did a bit of tapping around making it happen. So that goes a way back to them. We did burgers and chicken, all that sort of stuff.
No, that's interesting. So there was the griddle work even back then.
Yeah, it certainly was, yeah.
So then after that, what was next?
Oh my goodness me. Jogging old memory after the House of Fraser stores. I worked in quite a few of them. I then went to a hotel in Glasgow, the Kenilworth Hotel. It's no longer there actually, in Queen Street, and I was a deputy head chef in there for a while. Can't remember how long, maybe about a year or something. Then by that time I'd met my dear wife, Mrs. Ron. I met her while I was in the Merchant Navy, because I come home from the Navy and leave one time, and my girl I used to be friendly with, kind of girlfriend, she she brought my wife up to meet me. She met me for the first time and she thought, my goodness, this guy's drop dead gorgeous. So yeah, that was it. So obviously the hours interfered with my love life. So I went into a hospital catering, and I worked in the hospitals for a number of years because the hours were a lot better. And so that was
Kirk, wasn't it?
Mearnskirk Hospital, yeah, it's no longer there. I was the second chef in there in Mearnskirk, catering for the staff and for the...
So one of the things as well was, you can see up in that picture up there in the corner, there's a wee kind of line drawing of a chef.
Oh yeah.
So that was your first kind of self-employed. Were you doing that at the same time as you were working?
I certainly was, yeah. I started that when I was 19, 20 years of age. Ron's Catering Services, just a wee menu. We did, I did weddings, funerals, I did anything really.
So you remember we spoke recently about how much it was?
Yeah, I remember exactly. My cheapest menu was a homemade soup, probably lentil broth, steak pie, potatoes, 2 veg, a nice wee sherry trifle, tea or coffee, and that was £1.25 per person.
Wow.
And a 3-tier wedding cake was £20.
That's right. So at the time then, and I remember as a boy, you were doing a lot of weddings, and you did the full package. You did the wedding cake as well.
Did the wedding cake. I arranged the photographer. I would even arrange entertainment if that was necessary. I suppose nowadays you'd call it a wedding planner, but back in 1970 I started that, even before all these things all came about.
And that's something that you ran alongside your businesses for a long time.
I did, yeah.
Probably mid-90s maybe, did that stop?
Yeah, mid-90s, yeah, I stopped it, yeah.
Just a lot of hard work and not great return it eventually became, didn't it?
Yeah.
So while you were doing that, and where did we get to there? Mearnskirk.
Mearnskirk.
So where did you go after the hospital?
I left Mearnskirk and went into management, catering management, and went into industrial catering, because hospital catering's along the same genre as industrial catering, commercial catering. And I got my first job as a chef manager down in Rutherglen, and I was with that company for a while. Then I went to another catering company and I was a senior mobile manager. So I travelled the country. I travelled, probably covered most of Scotland. Managers were off sick, managers left. I would fill the gap in. So you never knew where you were going day to day.
Quite unusual though, because you were only about 20, 21 then, and to have, well, basically be like an area manager.
Yeah, I was, yeah. Get great experience from that. And then one of the companies I worked with, that took me up to the mid-70s. And I'm trying to think now.
Well, it was mid-70s, not like DS Crawford.
Yeah. I joined Crawford's, who were the bakers based in Edinburgh, and they controlled the Wimpy bars, because Wimpy was owned by United Biscuits. United Biscuits owned Crawford's. I worked for Crawford's, so I was responsible for the Wimpy bars.
And there was the Golden Egg as well.
The Golden Egg was part of the same group, yeah. I controlled the Golden Eggs and the Wimpy bars for the West of Scotland, so I was area manager, and I did that.
And one of your claims to fame is that in one of your Wimpy restaurants you met the Crankies.
I did meet the Crankies.
How exciting
yeah.
is that?
It was very exciting, yeah. I also met Ian Ogilvie, who plays the Saint. He was in one of the...
I don't think many people know who you're
Ian
talking about.
Ogilvie, yeah, back in the 70s. Smart guy. Wee polo neck and all that, yeah.
Very
Pretty
good.
cool, yeah.
So, Wimpy Bars, Crawford's Bakeries,
Yeah.
anywhere that was sit in, basically, that fall under your remit.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. Then 1981, Burger King came in the scene because McDonald's had just come in before that, so Wimpy were struggling a bit with the kind of the competition.
They didn't really move forward, Wimpy, didn't they not?
They didn't really know, which is pretty sad actually, because
Well, the Knickerbocker Glories were the best.
oh, amazing. They were far better than McDonald's, far better in every aspect. So yeah, I got made redundant, and I decided to open my own restaurant. So I opened a restaurant in Bathgate. It was called Chef's Kitchen, 72 covers. I had about 15 staff in it. And yeah, it was successful, did very well.
Until
Bathgate closed down British Leyland, and that had a big impact in the business.
Right, just
Because at that time, I was actually in the process of signing the missives for a lease to open my second restaurant in Glasgow, in Hope Street, which obviously I had to cancel due to the economic...
British
climate.
Leyland finished Bathgate
Oh yeah.
when it left, so it wasn't just you that suffered, but other businesses.
No, Bathgate was a ghost town after that.
Yeah, so that was a real shame.
Yeah.
So after that, obviously that meant moving away. If that's around about that time that we moved down to Ayrshire, isn't it? After that, or was it a bit in between?
Was it? Oh. No, it was a bit in between.
No, because we moved down to Ayrshire in 84?
83.
83.
Yeah. So I worked in Glasgow after I lost my restaurant, and through a contact in the business, I got approached by a guy who was designing the first themed fast food restaurant in Glasgow at that time, and that restaurant was called Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
And
Beady.
yeah, it was amazing. So I was involved right through the design aspect for the kitchen, hiring, firing staff, setting up the whole media thing, marketing, etc. And we opened up in Queen Street, just above Tam Shepherd's trick shop.
Joke shop.
Joke shop, yeah, in Queen Street.
And it was advanced because some of the stuff that was in there was a thing for parties, wasn't there, where you could hire to do a party and the kids would sit inside a spaceship and it'd be superimposed into like a real Buck Rogers movie and things.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
pretty fancy.
Yeah, and I remember because it was the first restaurant I'd ever worked in where we had a conveyor belt going from the entrance to the kitchen, right through the kitchen back into the restaurant. So very, very fast moving. That was part of the kind of unique design. It went very well.
The sad thing is that probably in this day and age, and it's a wee bit like that as well with a couple of things that you've done, they would actually work better now than they did then.
Yeah, well, we kind of pioneered it really. It was in the early stages in that area. But one of the funny things was my job was obviously to hire staff. I think I had over 200 staff in there at one time. Part-time, obviously, full-time. And what do you call it, the wee robot?
Yeah, Tweaky
the robot,
Beady,
so obviously we had to get somebody who would fit into that robot costume, a small person. And we got a small person, he was 2'6". So I put the advert in the paper for a small person to fulfil this role. And this person came, I interviewed him. He was a right fit for the job, if you pardon me the pun. It was good. We Alan.
The shame though, he used to get absolutely kicked to bits in that suit.
He did, yeah. And his language was sometimes a bit out of the box. Maybe it shouldn't have been.
Well, I think if you're getting kicked by 100 kids a day, I can understand.
Of course, he did get.
I wonder. Well, hopefully he's still about. I wonder if he'll see this.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to hear from him.
Alan Campbell, his name was. Hello, Alan, if you're out there. And the other one that I hired, I can't remember his name. We needed somebody tall for a big 8 costume or a big gorilla costume, I think it was. So I advertised for somebody that had to be more than 6'6". I think this guy was 6'10". I'm sure it was. And he got in the costume. But the costume, you wore it all day. I mean, you were in that costume, same with Alan, the Tweaky robot thing. You were in that for 6, 8, 10 hours at a time. The sweat was pouring off them.
Sure.
Yeah, and after that, who else did I hire? I had to hire a lot of the kind of staff the fleet staff, as it were, the waitresses.
Yeah, they had to wear the Buck Rogers uniform and all that.
Yeah. Then of course we had the platform in the actual restaurant itself. The restaurant seated 250, if I remember right. And the restaurant was full. At the weekends it was full, and it was a queue down Queen Street.
Amazing.
Right. This was a restaurant situated, it wasn't right in your face, you couldn't even find it, you couldn't see it. And the guy that designed it, his reasoning was, you don't need to be mainstream for somebody to see you. They'll find you. And I think I proved that with the Ron's Quality Snacks when I owned it. Because I wasn't exactly in the main thoroughfare. I wasn't right out there. I was in the wee tucked to be in the back of industrial estate.
Well, if something's good, word of mouth. Especially if it's something to do with food or to do with like children's entertainment or things that, you know.
Yeah. It's marketing. And Brian, the guy that had one of the directors who was initially involved in Buck Rogers, Brian had a lot of clever ideas in his marketing. We had our own marketing department. The marketing was amazing. We even had our own notes, Buck Rogers notes, you know.
Well, again, ahead of his time.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely. The plan was to open up franchises all over the UK. And we're looking at one in Liverpool, we're looking at one in Manchester at the time. And the thing happens within the company, the directors, I think, they went astray a bit from their main goal and they lost focus, and it just closed after that. I left.
So after Buck Rogers?
After Buck Rogers, where did I go? I got a job with another catering company. Yeah.
I don't know, Gardner Merchant then?
Garden Merchant, yeah, who are now called Sodexo. I got a job with them, manager of Ravenscraig out in Motherwell, looking after there was 5 canteen sites out there.
No, Ravenscraig was later.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, Ravenscraig was, well, the Sheriff Court was 1986, and Ravenscraig was after that. You're right. So it was,
The Sheriff Court is when we lived down, so you must have went to Gardner Merchant at Cairnryan.
Yes, I did. That's right. I did. Yeah. I did. I worked in the Nestle factory in Stranraer. Nestle, who are famous for chocolate bars and what have you. I worked there for a while. Then I worked in Prestwick Airport, in charge of the catering there. Prestwick Airport. Then, oh my goodness, I've got a big CV by the way.
Well, then for a while at that time, because we lived out in the country then,
Lived in Baltray.
You had a snack van.
I had a snack bar, when I lived out there.
Yeah.
Aye. Before I got those jobs, as a snack bar, and I used it in a lay-by between Ballantrae and Stranraer, and I marketed it for about a month, clocking all the cars going by, checking the amount of lorries that passed. And I must admit, I kind of failed a bit, because what I found out was later detrimental to the business, that particularly people in the cars or lorry drivers, they had a decision to make. They either eat on the ferry, they don't eat in the ferry, and they wait till they get to Girvan or Ayr.
Yeah.
So they were bypassing me.
It was too close.
Yeah, and I thought I wrote a wee poem about it the first day. The first day I took in £3.50. I'll never forget that. Sitting watching cars go by, haven't sold a burger or a pie. Can't remember the rest of the poem.
That's where Tapping and Rapping started.
Tapping and Rapping started.
So from there, obviously at Gardner Merchant, so you were down at Cairnryan at the Nestle factory.
Yeah.
Then you went from there to the Sheriff Court. Well, Prestwick.
Prestwick, yeah, I went to the airport.
And the Sheriff Court's quite a big one, because that's when this brand new building was getting opened.
Yep, 1986, we catered for the Queen. She opened it, and I was involved in managing the lunch for her, along with all my other staff, all the chefs, etc. The Queen's lunch was in there. That was interesting.
You did one with Andy Cameron as well. Who was better, the Queen or Andy Cameron?
Oh, probably Andy Cameron, actually. I did a wee charity thing for Dr. Bernardo's at the time, and the Gardner Merchant were one of the sponsors, and Andy Cameron came, and we'd photographs and a wee bit of chit chat with him.
So Sheriff Court, at that point then, because your work brought you back up to Glasgow, we moved up to East Kilbride.
That's right, yep, that's right. And in the Sheriff Court, oh goodness, after that, did I mention Ravenscraig? Yeah.
So Ravenscraig, it was after East Kilbride because I did a couple of shifts in it when I was 16. So that was 88.
Well, Ravenscraig was after the Sheriff Court. Yeah, because I was in the Sheriff Court, brand new building, lovely fancy office, and he came and asked me to go to Ravenscraig because there was problems there, a lot of theft going on and issues with the standards and all that.
And it was Ravenscraig was a massive site.
We fed 8 to 10,000 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
200-300 staff there. And Ravenscraig, yeah. So I went there as a troubleshooter. I mean, when I first went there, it was, I didn't like it, it was filthy. The office was dirty. I'm leaving a big fancy building at go to Ravenscraig. Anyway, eventually I was persuaded. I think money was involved. Anyway, I went to Ravenscraig and I sorted a few issues out there. Sorted all that out. Managed to sort out the staffing and the service quality, food, etc.
Do you know, I'm just actually saying there's a wee bit of a theme. Just about every place you've mentioned has been knocked down. Hotels and restaurants from years ago.
That's true.
And then after you were there, they decided to get rid of the steel industry. I don't know if you were involved in that.
I wasn't involved in that, no. But yeah, that's true. And I left there and I went as an area manager to
McVitie's? Was that McVitie's?
City Bakeries.
City Bakeries.
Yeah. Don't know many of you guys out there have heard of City Bakeries, but they had hundreds of shops all over Scotland. And I was area manager responsible for staffing, quality, service, all that sort of thing. Yeah, with the bakers and the restaurants. So obviously I've got a lot of experience in that, dealing with staff.
There's a place in the town centre in East Kilbride, across from Iceland and Farmfoods, you know, where you bought all your stock from. And it used to, I'm sure that used to be a City Bakeries.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of mine. I controlled that one. The Light Bite, the restaurant was upstairs. The baker shop was downstairs.
That's right.
It's now
another baker's now.
No, it's not. It's nails and.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 100%. Used to be Body Shop. After Body Shop, there's a wee nail place there to do the nails.
No, I'm thinking of the one that's in the corner. It used to be a Crawford's bakery. It's next to where the wee amusement. There's a couple of.
Oh yeah, it's Baines the bakers now.
Aye, Baines. That's the one I was meaning. Was that not City Bakeries?
No,
it was
City
Crawford's.
Bakeries, it was Crawford.
Oh, right.
No, City Bakeries was further up, which used to be the Body Shop.
Right.
Which is just situated just after the Bank of Scotland, the left hand side. It's now a Chinese nail bar.
So we're now up to, I reckon, 1987, 88.
Yeah.
And again, that's when another kind of opportunity came your way, which shaped a lot of stuff that you would do in the future. Because it had to do with Boston.
Yeah. After City Bakeries kind of collapsed, really.
Another one, yeah.
Nothing to do with me.
Well, actually, hold on. City Bakeries, isn't they were owned by McVitie's, were they not?
No.
What was the link then? Because that guy, Jamie Lang, the famous guy, you trained his father on some of the stuff around about the area.
Anthony, yeah. No, go back to that. Right, let's go back a bit to Crawford's, Wimpy, etc. After Wimpy shut down, I went to the restaurant catering division of Crawford's.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, because they controlled Crawford's baker shops, Crawford's tea rooms, Crawford's restaurants. So I went to that. Then, I went to that because it was after that we opened the restaurant in Bathgate. Yeah.
Really? I'm getting mixed up with my times as well.
Me too. It's hard to remember back.
But you did, though, that was one thing, a wee, 6 degrees of separation. So he's now the head of the McVitie family.
Yeah. Well, basically, Sir Hector Lane, was the chairman of McVitie's, Penguins and that, etc., and United Biscuits. So he was chairman of United Biscuits, who owned McVitie's, who owned Crawford's, who in turn owned Wimpy.
It was United Biscuits. That was I remember.
So Anthony Lane, his son Jamie, was on. What's the one?
He's on one of those things, but he's quite famous now. He does his podcasts and all that.
So was Anthony his uncle or his father? I can't remember. Anyway, Anthony Lane, I spent a couple of weeks with Anthony to kind of show him the ropes about how to run an area and how to run a group of restaurants.
So if it wasn't for you, Jamie Lane might not be rich and famous.
Might not be rich and famous for me, that's perfectly true.
Yeah, apart from the fact that all the Crawfords and all them all shut down, but we'll not go into that.
Yeah, we'll not go into that, yeah.
So then we got to the Boston link, right? So
the Boston link. No, before Boston link. No. Before Boston was Rank Hovis McDougall.
Right.
RHM.
Do they still exist?
Rank Hovis, yeah.
Yeah, just under a different name.
So Rank Hovis McDougall, yes, I was an area manager with Rank Hovis McDougall. They had a group of shops and restaurants. Sarah's Restaurants was one of their brands. Then they had the McDougall, the Hovis brand, etc. And I worked for them for a short time. And to be honest with you, it didn't fit my style. I didn't like the way the company operated. And eventually I left them. But we had a bit of a disagreement with their style of management. And they decided to let me go to pursue my career elsewhere. But I wasn't accepting that because they were just giving me 4 weeks' wages. So I read my contract and I thought, my contract says I've got to give them 3 months' notice. So why shouldn't they give me 3 months' notice? Easy peasy. So I put this to them and they said, no, sorry. I said, well, we'll need to take this further. And so I ended up getting my 3 months' wages. And what did I do with that?
No, see, I think you're getting it wrong. I think that
They were after Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, because you used your money from your payoff to set up your first
Rank
snack
Hovis.
bar in East Kilbride.
I did, that's right. So Dunkin' Donuts was before Rank Hovis. Let's kind of rewind that. Dunkin' Donuts was before Rank Hovis McDougall. Yeah. So I worked with Rank Hovis McDougall. I worked with Dunkin' Donuts rather. They sent me to America for 6 weeks. Went to Boston with the whole family. I went to Dunkin' Donuts University for 6 weeks. You've got to pass a very rigorous test there. Even harder than City and Guilds, by the way. One of the hardest courses I've ever done. You wouldn't think making donuts could be so complicated, but trust me, it is. And I come back and opened up the stores in Scotland.
Unfortunately, it was too early again.
Too early, yeah, way ahead of our time.
In Dunkin' Donuts, I think they're better than Krispy Kreme and stuff like that. I think
The only donuts, I think I've got 16,000 stores throughout the world.
Yeah.
One of the biggest bakery chains in the world. And our donuts are handmade, unlike Krispy Kreme's, which are factory made. Dunkin' Donuts, the dough's rolled out by hand, cut by hand, and fried. And the donuts, again, unlike Krispy Kreme, when I went around and checked all my stores, the donuts had a shelf life of 4 hours. We dumped them after 4 hours. Still eatable, they're lovely, but that was the company policy. That was part of their thesis, was to dump the donuts after 4 hours.
That is really a shame though, because it definitely was. It was great, Dunkin' Donuts, but it was ahead of its time as well.
Too ahead of its time, yeah. We opened the store on the corner of Argyll Street, and the first week, this is 1990, remember, and the first week we sold 25,000 donuts.
Yeah. In
the first week.
That's the corner of Argyll Street across from McDonald's, where Boots used to be and things. So a prime site as well.
Tim Hortons was there. Yeah, it was very expensive. Rent rates were horrendous. Wages were horrendous.
So there was a lot of staff there and a lot of turnover of staff there, so it gave you experience in that as well.
Yeah, experience in, yeah.
So when you were in America, this is where you come up with some of these names. So you stayed in a place called Quincy. So there was a Quincy Doner sub
on the menu at that time,
you used to do we'll come back to that in a minute. The famous Boston Belly Buster.
Yeah.
And then in America at that time there was obviously subs, which is something they didn't really have over here.
No.
And Subway wasn't here back then. And
No. As far as I'm aware, I was the first person to bring subs to Scotland. Nobody done subs.
I think so. It was very unique at the time, and you had a bit of variety.
People used to say to me, what's a sub? As a joke, I would say Alan McCoy's, Sorry, Alan, but that's not true, but it was always subbing. I introduced subs in 1991 when I opened.
So when we go back to that then, so we're now at the point where you've got the first East Kilbride snack van. So that was one that we would tow with the car.
Yeah.
Was it one of the kind of old-fashioned kind?
It was an ice cream van with the front cut off.
Yeah.
So it was just a small square trailer.
Glass all the way round.
Glass all the way around with a wee hatch that you lifted up. Yeah.
Absolutely freezing in the winter, roasting in the summer with all that glass.
That's right.
And that was situated, first of all, I think, up on High Greenhills Road.
High Greenhills Road, yeah. I get
Where that roundabout is now.
Yeah, I get permission to sit there, and quite a big lay-by. And I remember the first day, cars were just stopping. They weren't even parking. They were just stopping, and buses were stopping, and people were getting off to buy food. And I remember the police coming and saying, "Listen, you can't sit here." I said, "I've got a license." "No, you can't." "Yes, I can." "No, you can't." And eventually, after a wee while, probably, I don't know, weeks it might have been back then, I had to move. And I moved down to, which is now Langlands, which is the business part, but there was no factories there whatsoever, just trees and a small road. And I sat down there, and I was there for probably about 5-6 months. Then the council said, or not the council, it was the development corporation, said, "You can't sit here." I said, "Why not? I've got a license. You can't sit here." And the council said, "Yes, you can." The development corporation said, "No, you can't." And they both were at loggerheads with each other. They didn't like each other, actually. The development corporation is no longer in existence. I wonder why. So yeah, eventually I get moved, and I didn't have any choice. So I moved to Albion Way, which is where Ron's Quality Snacks, the rebirth was, as it were, after about 9 months. And it's still there on the same site.
So it's been on that same site for about 30 years now?
34.
Yeah.
Just about, yeah.
So that's long standing for any snack van.
Yeah. And the same owner for 34 years.
Yeah.
No other snack bars had the same owner. There's snack bars near me. They've had 10 owners in that time.
Yeah, in East Kilbride.
They just keep moving. They stick it for a couple of years, and they just don't offer what I used to offer at Ron's Quality Snacks. Service, quality and value.
Yeah.
Cook fresh.
And now the majority of people that will see this will know about Ron's Quality Snacks, so you don't really need to go into too much detail, but
No.
You did make a decision to retire.
I did, yeah, with a heavy heart, because I didn't want to retire. I always felt I was just going to die over the griddle, as it were. But yeah, health taking its toll, arthritis in my hands, and I use them for tapping and making it happen. If you're not, you can't be clapping. But if you want the news, go, Ron's Reviews. Yeah, I had to, the time had come. I didn't want to. I just got this new container, newish container, get it all fitted out, as I probably have seen. I got all that fitted out, and it was my dream to have that. And yeah, I had to sell, and it's in the hands of a new owner.
Yeah.
Same menu, same staff, and hopefully the quality is as good as what it was when I was operating it.
Because one of the things, and again, you were a wee bit ahead of your time with it, is that as you progressed with the snack van, is that you started to make it almost into an industrial kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, when you start out with wee snack vans, you'll see them, it's maybe not got running water, or it's not got electricity, it's got a generator, or it's almost like a wee kitchen sink. But you started to move away and started replacing everything with like stainless steel, proper kitchen equipment.
Yeah, well, here's something I forgot to mention. When I was on the Greenhills Road, I remember hearing about what's that thing you're holding just now?
A mobile phone.
It's called a mobile phone.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Back in my day, I remember reading about it. It was like a walkie-talkie type thing. And they called it a cell thing, or a cell phone.
Yeah.
And I thought, what is that? That's amazing. So I started making inquiries. And it was a company called Talkland, 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 who are no longer in existence. And they were selling this thing. It was called a mobile phone. Back then it was called a cell phone. It was probably about the size of a brick, I would say. And I remember looking at it and thinking, that's amazing. I could do deliveries and collections with that, which nobody had done in East Kilbride before. Not 35 years ago. Nobody. I think I was the first to do deliveries, actually, for hot and cold food. So I bought this phone. It was £399, which was a lot of money. That was like oh, 5-6 weeks' wages maybe, a lot of money. I remember me and Mrs. Ron arguing about it. Oh, we can't afford it, can't afford it. But the good thing about it was, well, it was £1 a minute to make a phone call. £1 a minute. Now, £1 35 years ago was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't making phone calls. It wasn't cost me anything. So I got my wee leaflets printed, distributed amongst all the factories in East Kilbride with a phone number on it. In fact, the phone number, well, I still remember it, it was 0831 537 415, I think it was.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, because back then it started with 08.
That's right.
Now it's 07. Anyway, I got that. Phone never stopped ringing. People phoned up. But little did they realise when they were using their boss's phone to phone for an order to Ron's Quality Snacks, it was probably costing the boss about £3 for the call, but it didn't matter to me. So that was how all deliveries all started. Back in the day, that was 34 plus years ago. Yeah. Then I got a fax machine.
That's right.
Yeah. Phone or fax, Ron's Quality Snacks. That was me, my kind of theme. And the fax machine never stopped. And it's still the same number I've got just now. I picked that number because it rolled off the tongue, 01355 26 51 51. And yeah, I used to phone and fax their orders through. Then it kind of developed from there.
So we've got to the point now, we're up to modern day. Obviously, you wish Ron Snacks to continue and do well under its new owner.
Yeah.
Seems to be, so that's great. But now you're looking at doing reviews, and that's how we started off. Why should somebody listen to you? Well, the experiences that we've spoke about show that you have an insight into the catering business. What are the kind of things are you planning on reviewing?
Well, basically, cafes, snack bars, takeaways, chip shops, restaurants, hotels, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Now listen, all the reviewers out there are good. I'm not knocking them. I've met Dazza. Hi Dazza, how you doing, mate? I've met a lot of them. They do a good job. I'm going to kind of go along a slightly different angle because I know a lot of them. They do a good job reviewing the food. You see, for example, you go into a restaurant and you get your bill and it says £32 plus, what does it say, plus what?
Service charge.
What does that mean, service charge?
Well, it's basically a way of them taking a tip off you without you tipping, isn't it?
Why does it not say food charge? Why does it say service charge? The word service. Because what you're paying for is service. Whether you go to a snack bar or a cafe, a restaurant, hotel, you're looking for service. What is service? Well, you want to be served efficiently, obviously. You're looking for a smile. Hi there, how would you like? Bacon roll. You want to get a greeting. Again, whether it's a snack bar, doing an industrial estate, you want to get a welcome. And you always got that at Ron's Quality Snacks. Treat people with respect, treat them nice. Good morning, how are you? You don't know what sort of day they've had. So that's the service and the speed of the service and how you're greeted. Then you've got the quality of the food you then look at. Then you've got the V, you've got the value of the food. So service, quality and value, that's the three things that I'll be looking at. And to me, service is important. I think the food's important as well, of course. But you go for a meal and it's a lovely meal and the service isn't good. Maybe the waiter's not been as good as they should have been. Maybe they were slow. Maybe it was a bit grumpy. Maybe it was rude. What do you remember about that visit? Do you remember the meal? I bet you don't. I bet you remember the service. Okay, yeah, the meal was good, but the service is important. So that's the three aspects. SQV, service, quality and value. I'm going to score out of 10 for service, out of 10 for quality, out of 10 for value. Out of 30.
And it's going to be honest as well, isn't it? So at the end of the day, 10s are unusual because there's very few people you go to and they can give you all three.
Well, I gave
10
all
out
three.
Of 10.
Yeah, I gave all three.
Yeah, who was that to?
Cross Basket Castle.
Yeah,
A new
Trocaderos.
restaurant, Trocaderos. Absolutely amazing.
That was well deserved, and that would be a good place to start. If anyone can come close to it, but you'll probably find that a lot of scoring. High scoring is going to be 8s or 9s, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. I mean, you could get a 6 for service, you could get a 9 or even a 10 for the quality of the food, and you could even get a 10 for the value. But remember, pricing of menus, it's kind of in the same kind of avenue, if you like. For example, most snack bars are all probably within the same
Yeah, they're roughly about the same.
price
The
structure.
markup, yeah.
The markup. But regarding hotels, restaurants,
Well, the thing is as well, and again, which you've got an understanding of is, for example, certain restaurants you go into, not name them just now because I'm sure you'll probably review them, but some of them maybe only do one or two things which are cooked fresh. The rest come from like Break Brothers or from a manufacturer.
Yeah.
So obviously the quality might not be right up there, but the service might be great.
Exactly.
So that's the thing, isn't it? It's finding a balance.
It can counteract it. Yeah. The thing is, what people don't understand, your general mate, this is no disrespect to any of the public out there, but a lot don't understand the machinery behind catering. In other words, the whole costing aspect. And they say, oh yeah, you're charging £5 for a belly buster. They don't have any clue what's involved in the food costs of that. Not just for the cost of the food. You've got overheads, you've got VAT, you've got corporation tax, you've got income tax, you've got a business insurance, you've got public liability insurance,
employers, national insurance,
you've got rent, you've got rates, you've got wages, you've got the cost of the food, you've got maintenance costs, etc., etc. I could go on and go on and go on. And sometimes selling something for £5, you can be left with £1 profit.
Yeah. And that's not the way it used to be. It used to be better than that.
It used to be a lot better than that. But
well, so wrapping it up then, what would you say?
Wrapping it, see what you did there. Wrapping it up there.
So wrapping it up then, what would you say you're going to bring, and do you want to finish it off with one of your infamous raps?
Well, the name's in the game, it's rapping on, this ain't no joke, this ain't no con. I can't dance, I can't sing. That's why tapping and rapping is my thing. I'm tapping and rapping and making it happen. If you're napping, you can't be clapping. But if you want the news, go Ron's Reviews.